So the summer between high school and college, I got hired as a counselor at a summer day camp. And I found out that I would be in charge of 15 6-year-old boys. Now, I was 18 years old. I looked like I was about 12. I had never done anything like this before. And I'm thinking, like, how am I going to approach this? You know, what's my strategy going to be? So my mother, who had been an education major and done some student teaching, told me, you know, what you have to do is be super strict in the beginning, show them who's boss, and then you can ease up as the summer goes on. Well, this being the 70s and me being an idiot, I rejected this authoritarian model. And I decided that I would relate to them more as an equal, as a friend. And I wanted to be like the cool counselor, and we would give each other the gift of a mutually rewarding and meaningful summer experience that we would remember for the rest of our lives. So the first day I sit them down and I say, guys, you know, we're a team and we support each other. And just because I'm the counselor and you're the camper doesn't necessarily mean that my opinion is more valid than yours. And they're looking at each other like, do you believe this fucking guy? So then the first time they did something wrong, like they were running in the hallway or something, I sit them down and I say, guys, you know, I personally don't care if you're running in the hallway, but, you know, if we're going to be the best team we can be, we have to follow the rules. Don't you agree? Well, no, they didn't agree. And it was a disaster. They were just out of control, running around, hitting each other, kicking, destroying things, ignoring me, mocking me. And one of the worst things they did was, I mean, these kids were like masters at psychological torture, and what they did was, there were these TV commercial jingles that they would sing all day long. It just drove me crazy. And over 40 years later, I still remember two of them. One of them was, you asked for it, you got it, Toyota. And the other one was, with or without the mustard. And these kids are 6 years old. They just had learned swear words. So they didn't really know how to use them, but they used them all the time. So they would incorporate them into the jingle. So they would go, you asked for it, you got it, fuck, fuck, shit. And the other one was, with or without the dick. And they thought that was as funny the 400th time as it was the first time. And I tried to explain to them, you know, you have to use these words in the proper context. It doesn't make any sense. And they look at me like, what? It's funny. What's wrong with you? So one of the worst things was trips outside of camp, you know, going out in public. And I found out that when you're in public and your kids are misbehaving, for some reason, people blame you because you're like, I don't know, in charge or something. And our first trip was to Wolf Trap. It was summer camp day, so you had summer camps from all over the area. And it was a real study in contrast because the other camps were like super professional and organized, and their kids were well behaved, and they're like lining up with military precision and singing songs like those kids in The Sound of Music. And my kids are like all over the place. They're going all Lord of the Flies on me. And I see this counselor from another camp coming up to me. And this guy was everything I aspired to be, not only as a counselor, but as a human being. He was this really cool-looking guy, you know, like a hippie god, a rock star. He probably played the guitar and had tons of girlfriends and stuff. And he's coming up to me, and I'm thinking, wow, this is really cool. This really cool guy is going to come talk to me. We'll probably have some sort of, you know, peer-to-peer shop talk or something. Maybe we'll be friends, who knows? And he comes up to me, and he goes, control your kids, man. And I'm like, I can't. I'm 18, but I look like I'm 12. I can't. I don't know how. Another horrible trip was to the Rock Creek Planetarium. And so we're lining up outside, and one of my kids, his name was Matthew. I still remember his name. I remember his last name, too, but he probably sued the shit out of me now if he's probably a lawyer somewhere. He's running around, and he won't stop. And I keep telling him, don't run around, don't run around. He just ignores him. He keeps running around. And at one point, he trips, and he skins his knee. And he's lying there crying, and I go up, and he's fine. And I put a Band-Aid on. And then I say to him, I told you not to run around. And then it just felt so good. And then I realized, kind of with horror, you know, people talk about the sense of achievement you get in a job. Well, the greatest sense of achievement I had gotten so far was saying, "I told you so" to a 6-year-old. So we go into the planetarium, and the park ranger is this like really nice guy, this prototypical kindly park ranger. It's kind of like if Santa Claus is a park ranger. And we get in there, and we're so bad, he kicks us out before the thing even starts. And we're filing out, and this park ranger just shoots me this look I'll never forget, just shame, shame, you know, like it was my fault, which I guess it kind of was. The worst trip of all was the overnight to West Virginia. And like I said, this was a day camp. And the nice thing about a day camp is at the end of the day, I could just go home and cry myself to sleep at night. So we're out in West Virginia, out in the woods somewhere, and I'm supposed to build a campfire and cook hot dogs. Now, I'd never been in the Boy Scouts. I knew nothing about how to build a fire. I'd read that Jack London story to build a fire, but I think that guy freezes to death at the end. And so I flick a few matches into some sticks or something. I don't even know what the right terminology is. And it doesn't come close to working. We're standing around, we're watching these sad wisps of smoke sort of rise up into the darkness, into the void. And you know, meanwhile, you know, the groups around us have these blazing campfires going. You know, you could probably see them from space. And I'm holding this cold, slimy bag of hot dogs, and these kids you know, whining and complaining that they're, you know, quote unquote hungry and cold. I know, right? Totally unreasonable. And they start getting really upset with me, and they're saying stuff like, you know, why can't you get our campfire going? And what's the matter with you? And I'm saying, I'm doing the best I can, and I'm starting to break out in flop sweat. And finally, this kid, this Matthew kid from the same one as in the planetarium, he turns to me and he goes to me, and these are his exact words. He says, "You know, I've been to a lot of camps, and you're the worst counselor I've ever had." And okay, now 2 things about that. First of all, this kid is 6 years old. How many camps had he been to? I'm sort of wondering what the comparison basis is for that. And the other thing is, you know, what should I have said? You know, as a child care professional, I should have said something like, well, I hear you, Matthew, and I respect your opinion, but I think it's important that we focus on our relationship as we go forward. But no, I didn't say that. I said, well, you're the worst camper I ever had. And he just laughed at me, and that's where I reached rock bottom. So the summer ends. Finally, it's the last day of camp. I'm very excited. At the end of the day, we go out to the parking lot to the buses, and I'm so happy that, you know, this is ending. And I see some kid start to do something he's not supposed to do, like, I don't know, scratch a car with a rock or commit a Class C felony or something, I don't know. And I start to tell him to stop, and then I realize, wait a minute, I can get in my car and I'll never see these people again. And that's what I did. So as I'm driving home, I'm thinking, man, my mom was right. I should have been a hard ass from the very beginning. But no, I asked for it and I got it. Thank you.